Welcome to episode 3 of the Super Acquaintances Most Outstanding College Baseball Podcast. Just to recap, I'm Travis. I'm here with Brennan, TJ, and Suges. Our other two acquaintances, Eric and Benji, unfortunately won't be able to make it with us, join with us today. Eric's out planning his wedding, and Benji's at a family dinner. But we are still going to come at you hard, come at you fast with all the best, most salient, most relevant college baseball analysis there is. As each weekend has been so far, it was just more incredible baseball. There's no better juxtaposition in comparison to the MLB lockout than what was going on in the Shriners Classic in Houston. The games were electric there. They didn't pack out the stadium, but they drew as many fans as the average Astros game, and the place was rocking. The place was electric.
Yeah, they hit a tournament high for tickets sold.
Yeah, LSU, Texas, I think was 23,000.
Yep.
Yeah.
Insane.
Incredible numbers. And the quality of the games were there to match. If you guys are following on other social channels, you saw posting reposting some of the predictions we made before the Classic and how they turned out. Some of them were definitely surprising. Some of them were not. But to take us away, I'm going to turn it over to TJ and Suges. So they were matched up this week in the fantasy department. And, TJ, how'd you feel about your performance this week? It's a little sad. I won't interject here.
So, I felt pretty hot going into it. I had NC State just rolling people.
I could cut that in. Like, I'm pretty sure we said NC State versus who did they even get beat by? Northeastern.
Team from
Easy.
Boston.
We didn't even cover it because it was so.
It wasn't even a thought in my mind, and I have yet to put up positive points for this week. I feel like your first week. I'm sitting right now as it stands with Texas losing as we speak. I'm sitting at a whopping negative 238.
Cool.
And that is
all thanks to NC State right there.
100% thanks to NC State dropping all 3 games at home. So what I said last week about, they're on the road, wait till they get back home. Yeah, just going to eat my own foot on that.
They drove the 30 minutes back from Campbell.
Yeah, they drove the 30 minutes back to Campbell and then I guess didn't have a team meeting the next morning. I don't know. Not too sure, but Sue just beat me, easily. So.
And
not only did you. Yeah.
Oh yeah, so Texas Tech this week they played 4 games against Merrimack, and they just dominated them. All 4 games.
They put up 40 in 2, right?
Yeah, they basically won me this week against you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was almost a mirror image of what happened to me last week at the hands of Tennessee. Texas Tech, came out, and they had been, Sue just can talk about this. They'd been really off to a little bit of a lackluster start to the season so far, and they flipped the switch. They decided it was time to get going, or maybe they had a little bit of the Tennessee Iona syndrome, of playing people that give up 40 runs in one day. Whatever you call it, they turned it on and poured it on.
Now they're on a 9-game winning streak. So they do play Mississippi State. They play Mississippi State this week, so we'll see how that goes. If they can continue that.
Who led the way for Texas Tech that weekend or this weekend?
Parker Kelly. He hit 3 dongs in one game and hit 2 grand slams.
Oh my God,
he sure did. He sure did.
But what really sealed the deal on Saturday was Merrimack was actually playing them pretty tight in the second game of that doubleheader on Saturday, and Texas Tech put up a 13-run 5-inning to seal the deal.
Holy shit!
13 runs in the 5th inning, so they sent them packing.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. I mean, really, again, with the scoring system, right? Texas Tech, they're a ranked team, and Merrimack was not, but because they beat the ever-loving piss out of them, that generates a lot of points. And by contrast, NC State, they certainly didn't get blown out by Northeastern. But
that multiplier is so high that they score runs and I mean,
when you're a ranked team and you lose against a team like that, you're going to be penalized pretty heavily. And we'll circle back to this later, but it is the difficulty level in sweeping a team is high. The difficulty level in sweeping a team on the road is higher, and the difficulty level of doing that when you're an unranked team coming in against NC State, which was one of the most prolific offenses of the first 2 weeks of college baseball, is that much higher. So
that's just unheard of.
Yeah. It was incredible. Well, not incredible, but remarkable.
I'll just run through mine real quick. First off, we're going to start off with, what everybody thought was Jesus Christ himself coming back from baseball, Tommy White. 1 for 12 on the weekend with a hit by a pitch and 2 strikeouts. So the 2 strikeouts thing, maybe he just wasn't finding holes, but it does show that, maybe the hype is wearing off. That first game I was watching, and I remember texting in the GM, Sam Highfield, their NC State's ace, the first 6 batters faced, he went walk, hit by pitch, double, error, single, walk. That's
not acceptable.
That's not winning you baseball games.
That's
You're not helping yourself.
Yeah, you were down 4-0 before you even had a chance to pick up the fucking medal.
Yeah.
Not
helping yourself and not getting help from the defense.
He did bounce back after that, struck out the side, and then went 5 innings pitched, 4 hits, 3 runs. Sorry, he gave up 3 runs in the first inning. So his 3 runs were in the first inning. After that, he kind of flipped it, which was fine. Josh Hood went 3 for 4 with a home run, double, and an RBI. Obviously, that's the only offense they had. And NC State only had 2 total walks. So clearly not good approaches at the plate if you're only getting 2 total walks in a game. It's going to be hard for me this week when we drop the rankings to keep them in my top 20. It's going to be hard after dropping 4 games in a row to unranked opponents. Which I know I said earlier in our past episodes, hey, this is college baseball. There's no
anything can happen.
There's no irrelevant opponents. So again, I'm kind of eating my own words, but I'd love to see him flip the switch here in that next couple weeks.
It shows in this 3-game series too that like Tommy White, he obviously brings all the energy and the confidence to the team. So whenever he's not hitting or doing good, it's like the team just looks lackluster, and they're just throwing the ball around. Yeah,
and so you made a great point, and that's kind of why I touched on it a little bit. Like, I don't want to be, when we put our rankings out, I don't want to be too reactionary, right? Like, it took me a while. Liberty is in my top 20 now because they keep winning. And at first, right, I didn't want to just immediately vault them after winning the first series of the year against Florida. But now, like, getting, again, the difficulty level in sweeping a team like NC State at home, all the credit goes to Northeastern, but at the same time,
100%.
like the inability to win one game, and most of these games,
not really even get close.
Right. They weren't
8-5.
They weren't blowouts, but they weren't particularly like close. So yeah, it's just NC State is they're in free fall right now. I don't know if they're. Do they have any games this midweek, Trevor?
So yeah, they do. They're playing. University of North Carolina Greensboro, which
if they lose
get back
to
on
them,
track there,
should, but then they get into a tough weekend against Notre Dame. So I'm.
It's not going to get easier from here.
Yeah, I don't have too much of high hopes. Yeah, and then they burn down the list of just teams that are. Yeah, looking at their schedule, I don't know.
Teams that are better than Northeastern.
Yeah, if they don't flip a switch.
Or so we think.
Yeah, if they don't flip a switch against UNC Greensboro, it's going to be tough because it's stacked. I think their only potential for sure might bite that is Elon, and that's next week. So
I think North Carolina beat them like 15 or 16-1.
Yeah.
Okay, so your other big team,
NC State top.
Yeah.
I don't
other big team
anymore,
is
man.
Texas. How'd they do this weekend?
They did wonderful. So contrary to what the old top left corner said, Brennan, he wrote that wonderful blog about the Shriners Classic and how, what were they going to do? They were going to handle Texas, right?
Yeah, they were going to handle them close in a 10-inning game. So, I mean...
That's weird. So
six to 1's pretty close.
Yeah, for sure. So Texas still coming in 11-0. Probably not going to stay 11-0 after this game finishes. I believe they're down 4-1 to UCLA.
Yeah, I'm watching that right now.
Same.
So we had touched on it earlier. Pete Hansen and Tristan Stevens, that 1-2 combo from Texas. Pete Hansen on the year, 17 innings pitched, 12 hits, 1 earned run, 21 strikeouts with a .53 ERA. I mean,
dealing.
Yeah, just dealing. He's 2-0. That's all you can ask for from your ace. In that first game, they beat Tennessee, the supposed pretenders, which I didn't agree with. 7-2. Trey Faltini going 2 for 3 with a home run and RBI and a stolen base. Just love that. Saturday's game against old LSU.
Go Tigers.
Go Tigers. They won 6-1. Tristan Stevens again 3-0 on the season or on the year. 7 innings pitched, 5 hits, no earned runs, 9 Ks on the year. Tristan is dealing.
Dominant.
13 hits given up, 0 earned runs, 2 walks, and 14 strikeouts with an immaculate 0.00 ERA.
Unbelievable.
I mean, that's just enough said. So I'll just let Sue just take his Big 12 picks.
Yeah. Can you elaborate on Wake Forest too and how they're doing this year?
Oh yeah. So Wake Forest had him in my flex after a little bit of miscommunications. Only had him Friday and Saturday because they didn't play Sunday. They're 11-0 on the season. Kind of been an underdog for me. I kind of been slacking on the stats for them, to be completely honest with you guys. They beat UMass Lowell 13-3. Wake pitchers through the game, they went 3 hits, 3 earned runs with 12 Ks. I think a guy that we need to watch out for is Rhett Lauder. I know we've been talking about Pete Hansen and Tristan, but he's at 17 in the third pitched, 11 hits, 25 strikeouts with a 1.56 ERA. Also dealing 3-0, so I think we need to watch out for him. And then Saturday they beat Central Michigan 4-2.
Yeah.
Wasn't really any notable stats from that game, and then
so they're not playing like dominant teams.
Yeah, no.
I mean, they're beating everybody.
All I would like to see them when they're getting into ACC play. I think that's where the team will be tested, playing teams like
North Carolina,
UNC,
Florida State,
Tech,
Miami,
and, the on the downs NC State.
Shout out Georgia Tech, by the way, Travis.
Yep.
Yeah. Don't worry. We're going to cover them in pretty good detail.
We'll get into that.
I think pretty sure conference play begins next weekend. I know Jairus, you touched on NC State at Notre Dame.
It looks like mid-March is when NC State plays their. This is just NC State scheduled, so it looks like mid-March is when they start.
I think most teams
Florida State. Yeah.
I think most teams have one more weekend maybe.
Mm-hmm.
It's about to pop off even more than it's already popped off.
It's about to get crazy.
Yeah, and again, we've only hit week 3, so Texas obviously took care of business. They, I think, showed on a national stage to everyone why they were the consensus number 1 team and why they're still the consensus number 1 team. Brennan can touch a little bit on Tennessee since he's going to be filling in for Eric in a minute once we get there. But I think they also proved to the world that, they didn't quite have Texas's number, but they clearly aren't pretenders either. They had a pretty good showing against the other non-Texas teams.
I'd like to shout out someone that I completely dogged last weekend. Wichita State. We're on the come up. Maybe they need to move into Frisco. They won both games that I played them in, at least, because I wasn't going to play them in. I had A&M versus Wichita State, so it would have been a wash either way, and I didn't want to choose Wichita State over A&M. and I'll get into that a little later. Why I played A&M in my didn't play A&M in my SEC spot. Yeah, they beat Iowa 6-4, and they beat Washington State 8-2.
Those are two pretty good teams too.
Pretty solid Power 5 teams that they beat. Would love to see them keep it up. Don't want to get rid of them just yet because I want to see them score big.
All right, what other? I know you guys have some other ranked teams. Particularly, there's Maryland, ECU to cover. Let's keep things moving here.
Yeah. So
Florida State too. Let's not forget about them. So
yeah, go ahead and touch on Florida State real quick.
Yeah, so Florida State, they played Cal pretty good, or actually Cal played Florida State pretty good, surprisingly. Florida State did win the series, but they did drop one game. Their pitching looked a lot better this week, but I'm just glad that they could just win this series. That's pretty big for them. Hopefully on Tuesday they can take care of, I think that's Florida Gulf Coast is who they played. They've lost every Tuesday game so far, so we'll see if they can break that low spot on Tuesday.
Tallahassee hangover Tuesday.
Maybe they are hungover on Tuesdays, huh?
Yes, hangover Tuesdays. So we'll see
Tallahassee
if that's true. I do want to touch on Ole Miss. They did come back down to earth. They played UCF. UCF played them very well. The first two games were decided by 1 run each. So shout out to UCF. They have a great baseball program right now. But on Sunday, this is where elite teams come in and they just take care of business and they just blew them out that Sunday game. So look for Ole Miss to continue their winning streak. Like I said earlier, Texas Tech just hammered Merrimack. I don't know why Merrimack allowed them to schedule 4 games against Tech. I don't know why they would do that, but they sent them home with a blowout with every game. ECU. They have been the surprising team this weekend. I feel like they swept the series.
Mustache March, baby.
It's funny. It's funny though because if they were doing this in the first weekend, that would have been meeting expectations, right? Where now, based on how they started their first 9 games,
they're trying to climb back in.
Yep.
Right.
They're trying to play catch up right now, and
Yes.
prove that they're actually worthy of some rankings. So they didn't play extremely elite teams. They played Indiana State, they played Michigan, and they played Maryland, which is pretty sound baseball team right now.
Top 5 though, right?
Yep.
So just
top 5.
Dude, I can't believe
you can't describe a top 5 team as pretty solid.
Yeah.
Okay, so end of the week, I saw that Maryland was, clearly, one of the best Big Ten teams, and I just threw them in there. I thought they were going to do amazing this weekend. Unfortunately, they took 2 L's. So I guess I'm going to swap Kentucky with Maryland in my rankings this week.
Top 5.
God.
Kentucky just looks dominant. We'll cover that.
Let's
let
get
Brennan
to them
cover
in a
that.
second. So ECU came out strong.
Yep. And then one more other team I want to touch on is UCLA. They took care of business against Oklahoma. Granted, Oklahoma had a awful weekend. I'm dreading talking about them. I'm not even going to bring them up after this.
No, we are though. You don't have to bring them up.
Please don't dog me too much.
They did exactly as expected. 0-3.
But UCLA
For everybody else,
yeah. So UCLA looks pretty sound. They're beating Texas right now. So
just gonna put this out there in the universe for all you listeners. When I offered Suges our original trade, I wanted to trade him Florida State and who else was I going to trade? I was going to trade OU, Florida State and OU for Arkansas and Kansas. Pretty fair trade. And these guys, they said, no, I'm fleecing him. You have to include UCLA and get Arizona State in return. Look how it
I was
fucking
not
turned
involved
out.
in this. I was not involved in this.
You guys vetoed that shit.
That was me.
Brennan
baby.
did.
That
I
was
did
me.
not.
Now I'm 0-3. Suges got UCLA and Florida State.
in Arkansas, are they
For
down
Arkansas.
bad or what?
They're
they struggled this weekend, I think.
I'll talk
didn't
about
have
that
to
in a
listen
minute.
to us.
I did because you all vetoed it. We're in a collaborative. This is a collaborative effort here.
It's called colluding. You could have done what you wanted.
The thing why that happened was because Arkansas was just they were obviously like the clear cut top 3 team.
They
at
hadn't
the time.
played a game yet. They hadn't played a game.
Everybody thought they were just going to be studs. They're going to be up there with Texas this year, but hasn't looked like it so far.
I think I'm going to touch on one more team before I pass it to you, Travis, so you can get into
Please.
you and Brennan. Rutgers, 9-1. Pretty happy with my pick with Rutgers, even though I picked them solely because they were close to me and I wanted to go to a few games. 9-1. Struggled a little bit with William and Mary, only beat them 1-0, but bounced back on Saturday and beat Indiana State. I know, the old Sycamores, 9-1. Chris Allen, Matt Shaw, Troy Schreffler, and Luke Schliger combined for 11 for 17 with 3 home runs, a double, 10 RBIs, and a walk. So I don't know what was funny about that. Was I slurring or
Which team was that you said?
Rutgers?
That I feel like that's the team that the opposing announcer just sees the lineup card and is like, oh shit.
And looking back
Schluger?
on it, looking back
A
on
bunch
it,
of tongue twisters on that team.
looking back on it, that's exactly what I did because Rutgers didn't play William and Mary on Saturday. Maryland did. I just read off Maryland's stats for you guys. So, really excited about Maryland and how they're doing.
Wait, but Maryland dropped 2 of 3 this weekend.
They did, and their one win was against Indiana State.
Yeah.
So I read off those stats.
You're an idiot.
Yep. Hey, we're not the smartest here. Well, I'm not the smartest here.
Let's clear it up. Are you excited about Rutgers or Maryland?
Both, because they're both 9-1. Well, now 9-2 because Maryland just lost.
Okay, thank you. So TJ's other ranked team is the University of Georgia, and they played one. Actually, I think you should have. They played one Georgia Tech this weekend, and got their cheeks. They got, as we like to say in the ATL, they got pissed on.
Yep. Nope. And I should have listened to you. You texted me beforehand and said, Sunday is the only game that Georgia has a shot to win at. And what did I do? I decided to play them Saturday as well. And you are correct. 8-2 was the final score.
Yeah, Georgia Tech looks like a top 10 team right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
just a little bit about college baseball, right? Typically, your best starters, right, go 1, 2, 3, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And a lot of teams, right, don't have like a third elite starter. So Sunday is typically the day that turns into a slugfest, right? Ole Miss, UCF is a great example where, Friday, Saturday games are very, very low scoring, even when elite offenses like Ole Miss. And then Sunday, the arms run out a little bit and elite offenses can take over. So this week for me in fantasy, I played Benji, who unfortunately isn't able to join us. And although I outscored him Saturday and Sunday combined, Friday I got put in such a large hole, such a large deficit that I was not able to recover. My 3 of my 4 key teams, Florida, Arkansas, and Stanford, all 3 of them lost their series openers. Florida to Miami, Stanford to CSUN, which is the Colorado State University Northridge, and Arkansas to I don't even remember who they played.
Oh, man.
Wasn't very good.
That's bad.
Didn't they play Southeastern?
Yeah, thank you. It was Southeastern. So, ironically, all of those teams would go on to win their series, but I got put in such a big hole on Friday that I couldn't quite recover, which is unfortunate. So just to give you a quick recap of my teams.
Couldn't even break even.
Yeah, Stanford. Watch who's talking because he just set the all-time lowest score. So congratulations, for a series.
I'll take it.
Thanks to NC
So watch
State.
I'll take it.
Yeah. So Stanford, as I mentioned, they dropped Friday night 3-9. The number 1 starter, I kept hyping up, Alex Williams. He had a rough. He actually had a decent game, but gave up a 3-run home run to Gabe Gonzalez in the 5th inning.
Do they have 4 losses this year now?
Yeah, UTSA, 1 to these guys, 1 to CS Fullerton. Maybe 3 losses? I can't remember. Stanford actually hit back-to-back-to-back home runs in the 4th inning, the first time since 2001, and that included the first baseman Carter Graham, who had a great midweek, and they still lost. So Saturday they got a good bounce back effort from Quinn Williams. 7 innings pitched, 0 runs. He absolutely dominated. They got a home run from the third baseman Drew Browser. He homered on Friday night too. He's 8 for 11 in his last 3 games, so the dude's on fire. They clinched the series today with a 3-2 victory. I haven't seen the write-up for that game yet, but they did come away with the series victory. Again, Stanford's pitching has been incredible. One mistake on Friday is really what cost them the game. But they're kind of turning into Arkansas a little bit. Like the offense is not giving me a huge amount of confidence that they can walk into anywhere and dominate. Florida, they lost their opener 2-5. Their ace Hunter Barco was great. He's now on the season. He's got 28 punch outs and only 2 walks, so really great command. But give up a 2-run dong to Yohandy Morales in the 4th inning to Miami. They got also a great bounce back on Saturday, won 8-1 behind Hagen Smith. That's actually Arkansas's pitchers. I apologize. So they won 8-1 on Sunday. They also won 13-3. So they dominated the last 2 games of the series. Wyatt Langford won 3 for 3, a triple shot of the Sharkle with 3 walks. So the dude was an on-base machine. They've got 2 games against Jacksonville this week, so hopefully they can walk in there and dominate.
The Jaguars?
Yeah, no, not that. No, not those guys.
That's football.
They're awful.
So Arkansas, again, also lost through their opener 3-7. The ace, Connor Nolan, went 5 innings pitched shutty. Then they gave up a 7 spot in the 6th inning. They played a doubleheader on Saturday and won both of those games 4-2. And what was really good to see is they won the last game 11-1. Their big transfer from OU, Jace Barofin, he came into the weekend hitless and busted out on Saturday with 5 RBIs. So I'm really, really hoping that this 11-1 victory kind of sparks the Razorbacks and propels them forward. They're not playing any midweek games this week, so hopefully they take the time to come out strong this next weekend because they really need to figure it out. Some of my lower tier teams, Iowa went 1-2 on the weekend, losses to Wichita State as Trevin mentioned, and Texas A&M. They did beat Washington State 6-5. Nothing too crazy to highlight there. I think Kansas, I know they lost on Friday and Saturday, 2-11 to Michigan State and 1-8 to Minneapolis. They're playing 2 games against Charleston Southern next week. Arizona State, they actually had at least 2 wins. I think they were losing when I last checked to San Diego State, but they won 13-5 on Friday. They hit 5 home runs, including 1 from the first baseman Connor Davis and 2 from the DH Ivan. Let me expand my column here. Ivan Breather. Their pitcher Adam Tillich went 7 innings pitched, 8 punchies and 1 run. On Saturday, we love Lamp. Joe Lamp, the third baseman, was a triple shy of the cycle, and their pitcher Kyle Luckham went 7.2 innings pitched with 3 runs, all in the 5th inning. Houston got 2 dubs at least. They won 5-2 on Friday, lost 8-13 on Saturday, and I know they beat Incarnate Word in the series finale today. No midweek games. Pittsburgh, they lost on Friday, had a good victory against Ohio State. Their shortstop Brock Franks hit a walk-off home run, and then they dominated Campbell today. And finally, what you've all been waiting for. Clean, good, old-fashioned hate between the UGA Bulldogs and the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets.
I'm a rambling wreck from Georgia Tech. I'm a hell of an engineer. Go
That's
fight,
right.
win, drink, get naked.
As I predicted, I said if Georgia Tech's top 2 pitchers, Chance Huff and Zach Maxwell, were on, they were going to win Friday and Saturday, and that's exactly what happened. Chance Huff came out, gave them 7 quality innings with 3 hit ball, got 6 punchies and only 2 walks. Actually, no walks. Strike that. I apologize. The second baseman, Tim Borden, I call him TB2 because he's Tim Borden the second, so instead of TB12, he's TB2. He hit the decisive 3-run home run, just a moonshot off the tower in center field to propel them to an 11-7 victory. UGA, the best thing that I saw actually, UGA put up 6 runs in the 8th inning. So UGA brought the game to 8-7. Instead of not getting knocked down from that punch from the Bulldogs, the Yellow Jackets responded. Finished the game, got game 1. Game 2, Zach Maxwell, he can be a little wild, and he was on Saturday. Had 7 strikeouts, though, in 3 innings. He's dialing up 97 miles an hour with a wipeout slider. They got a great relief effort from Cody Carwile and Aiden Finateri. They combined for only, I think, 1 hit in 6 innings pitched. So really stifled the Bulldogs. TB2 home run hit a homer again, and that was the first time the Yellow Jackets won 7-0. That was the first time that they had shut out UGA in Athens since 1997. So really great victory. They clinched the series.
Piss on them.
Go ahead.
I said piss on them.
Yeah, they got pissed on. So they did have the chance to sweep the series on Sunday and could not take advantage of it. UGA, they came out, they dominated. Again, Georgia Tech doesn't have that third elite starting pitcher. At least they haven't surfaced yet. But the thing for me, why I'm not too discouraged from that victory and why I'm ready to put Georgia Tech in the top 10, if not 5, is that Georgia Tech left 14 runners on base that game. They lost 12-3 because they got it sloppy with the defense in the back innings. But they were in every position to bring back that game. In fact, Kevin Parada, he was maybe 20, 30 feet away from a grand slam that would have brought the game within
base
one.
Loaded,
so
I think twice from what I saw.
Multiple times. Yep. So, I was, as a Georgia Tech fan, I'm always disappointed by their sporting teams. They come in, I think in 2015 or 16 they were in the top 5 teams, and then I don't think they made it to the World Series. So I'm finally comfortable. I've seen enough to put them in. I think they're in my top 5 now. Like they've proved to me that their offense can keep them in any game. It's always going to be a question of the pitching, and if Huff and Maxwell can pitch like they did this series, there's at least 2 games that they can win.
Yeah, and these ACC teams look dominant. There are 3 undefeated teams in the ACC right now. You got Clemson.
Yeah, ACC is looking great.
Clemson,
absolutely.
Wake Forest, and Virginia. All 3 are 11-0. So shout out to the ACC.
2 of those teams, right? Clemson and Wake Forest are teams that haven't really been in the conversation of nationally ranked teams because they didn't come in with a lot of hype. Amid the fanfare of NC State and Notre Dame putting up all the runs they're putting up.
Can we stop
Georgia
saying
Tech.
the name? It hurts.
But the ACC is looking really strong. I'll do my best to cover Benji's teams this weekend. He did pull off the victory just because he didn't come out with negative 168 on Friday. Notre Dame had a good weekend. I don't think they got to play their Sunday game, but they came away with 2 victories. I believe, Saturday, they only won 2-1 against Michigan State. So this is why I'm not quite so high on Notre Dame. I don't think they're as dominant as they showed the first week of the season.
We'll find out when they come up against NC State this weekend.
Looks like Michigan went 1-2. OSU, this is a big one. Oklahoma State didn't get to play. I think they're playing their 3rd game of the series Monday. They've dropped 2 in a row to Gonzaga at home. So, a lot of people were really high on Oklahoma State.
Yeah, they are in people's top 5. So now they're
on the border of getting swept at home by Gonzaga if they lose tomorrow. So that's something to keep an eye on. Oregon State, by contrast, they're, I think, one of the stronger teams in the country that haven't been talked about. They
Best
won.
Team in the Pac-12 for sure.
They beat UCI 7-2 on Friday. Beat them again 9-5 on Saturday, but they actually lost today to UCI in the series
their
finale.
First L.
Yeah, first L, 3-2. So UC Irvine's always a good baseball program. So I'm not going to go reading in too much to that, but that is of note. Vanderbilt flat dominated Hawaii as expected, I would say, in a 4-game series.
Yeah, watch out for Vanderbilt too. They're gonna bounce back. I know they lost 2 to Oklahoma State, but I feel like they're definitely not going to be a Mississippi State this year. That's for sure.
Yeah, I have not dropped them below, I think, 5 or 6 because I believe that first series was a little bit of an anomaly, and they've shown that they have the bats and the pitching to keep in contention. UCF looks like they won on Friday 3-0, lost on Saturday 9-5, and looks like they won on Sunday in the series for clincher 6-3. I think they're playing Bucknell or something with a B. I'm not too sure. UNC looks like they had a good weekend, 4-3 victory, 4-0 victory, and then looks like another. So they swept Coastal Carolina at home. Coastal Carolina is a great baseball program.
Yeah.
Auburn put up actually some runs. They dominated Rhode Island. Ohio State, I think, had a mixed bag in the same tournament that Michigan was in and all those guys. And then Virginia Tech, it looks like they lost on Friday to Wright State, but then they came out Saturday and Sunday, especially today, and put up a bunch of runs. So, yeah, I know that was a lot there. Takeaway for me, I need to see more from Stanford. Their pitching is still elite. Arkansas, I'm really hoping the last game today is going to propel them into better offensive showing going forward. Florida looked great. Really happy with them now. They're on the up for me. And Georgia Tech,
Amazing.
They talk the talk and they walk the walk. They're consensus top 10,
Love
I think, and in my top 5.
Did Catcher U do anything this series, or was he just mediocre?
He's definitely cooled off, but he when I said cooled off, he's continued to hit for average. The home runs have slowed down a little bit though, but he's still like hitting number 2 in the lineup.
For sure.
Offensive spark plug for sure. Okay, Brennan, you want to take away? I'll leave this little tidbit for Brennan. He did secure the victory this week against Eric, and I believe will become the first team to win with a sum total negative score.
Well.
Wait,
we
what?
have once LSU beats Baylor, I'll be back in the positives.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so Brennan's sitting at negative 12 for the weekend right now, so we'll see how LSU does.
LSU struggled.
All right, Brennan,
against
what happened
OU.
this weekend in your and Eric's world?
All
They
right.
struggled against OU. That's what happened.
I don't know. He didn't. That ball struggled to not find the stands. So LSU Shriners Classic played OU on Friday. Blake Money was money. 6.2 innings pitched, 7 strikeouts. Jake Bennett.
You're going to have to come up with more creative things to say on him as we move on through the podcast.
Dude's just money, man. I mean, he's averaging
He's
averaging
money.
a strikeout and a half an inning. So he's great. Of course, Thompson walked it off in that 11th inning.
So beautiful. So beautiful.
Dude, LSU's first baseman, unbelievable. Clutch.
Trey Morgan is very stinky at first base. He's very stinky. Saturday, they unfortunately took the L. Should have been 6-2, but it was 6-1. Tristan Stevens, I'm sure you guys already shot on that. Doug Hodo with his 3-run shot, also incredible. They're going to beat Baylor today, so 2-1 on the weekend. They played McNeese, team out of Lake Charles, Louisiana. Not worried about that one on Tuesday. Let's see, Mississippi State.
As long as they're not hungover.
Yeah, no, our parties are on Thursdays.
Okay.
So Mississippi State started out the weekend strong. I thought it was going to be a great weekend. Unfortunately, Blake Sims, the now greatest pitcher in the SEC, got hurt after 3 2/3 innings, 10 strikeouts. I'm back on the Sims train.
Yeah, let's pause a little bit. We put out a couple pieces of content on him. In all, if we, to be honest, right, he's got some of the most electric stuff in college baseball. He had a rough outing there for Mississippi there last week. We have nothing but well wishes for the guy. He's probably never going to hear or see, our podcast here. But just putting that positive energy out in the world. And before you continue, right, it was interesting seeing that injury to Sims, and then Mississippi State, right, came out and dominated, right? The inning after Sims went out, they exploded and put up a shitload of runs. And I went to sleep that night thinking that was going to be Mississippi State's like moment, right, to turn things around. But
Yeah,
didn't turn out that way.
They only got pissed off for about 6 innings right there. So Saturday, Tulane, Ethan Groff walked it off with a home run. Super great in 10 innings. And then on Saturday, Drew Talley balks home the tying run to tie it up 4-4 for Tulane. They ended up winning that game 5-4. Let's see. Kentucky was going for the sweep today. They had one bad inning.
I love Kentucky.
I
love Kentucky.
I think Kentucky's going to be a good team this year. They only lost that game because they had a 5-inning top of the ninth. TCU had a 5-inning top of the ninth. They were just one bad inning away from the sweep against a top 10 team. Thanks, Perfect Game.
Yeah, I don't know what Perfect Game's doing. I don't know who's in charge of those rankings.
Me either.
TCU may be 15 or 20, but I don't know, top 10.
Not anymore.
So Nebraska played a double header against Northwestern State and UT Arlington. In that first game yesterday, Shanaman, complete game shutout, 9 innings pitched, 3 hits.
Yeah.
Hold on, when you say double header, are you talking about 2 games Friday, 2 games Saturday?
Yep.
Oh,
Yep.
that wasn't a stutter?
No, It's a double
It was a
header.
double header.
A double header.
It
I
was a
about to
double header.
unload on Sujis.
That's
No.
a lot of baseball.
No, Nebraska and Cincinnati did a double header
Played
this weekend.
30 games in one day. All right.
Double
sweet.
whammy. I like it.
Yeah, Nebraska came
Miami.
out of that series 3-1, so hopefully they get back on track. They haven't been doing so hot this year. Let's see. Louisville played Akron. I mean, Louisville played and Akron was there. They put up 42 runs in 2 games.
Wow.
Louisville's
to beat Texas Tech on their 40 runs.
yeah. Louisville, their guy Beard, 2 home runs, 6 RBIs in that Sunday game. Dude's a freaking beast. Cincinnati played Northwestern and they just played 4 games against Northwestern. They won that.
Was that another double
header? They won that first game against Northwestern on Saturday with another walk-off. Cincinnati is a walk-off team.
You were full of the walk-offs this weekend, it seems.
Yeah, I was.
in the double headers.
Yeah, in that second game yesterday, they had a 2-run homer. No, that was what? Oh, Sponseller. That's what it is. Sponseller, 3 home runs, 7 RBIs in that second game. I don't know who that kid is, but I will know who that is next week. He's a beast.
You know, college baseball is just far superior to me. Like in the Major League Baseball, you have last names like Trout and like Smith, and in college baseball, you have like Sel Spawner and
Mehoff for sure. That's
Yeah.
one.
Gelhoff.
You mean
not
Geloff?
Come on.
Geloff. And Schlag, whatever his name was that you covered, Trevin, from Maryland or whatever.
There's a lot of guys on my lineup. I don't know if I can read them all.
Schlabnabben.
Nick Kurtz. That's one of them.
So yeah, you're fine. Like Sue just said earlier, Cal came into the Florida State, played him very well this weekend. Florida State only lost that last game in the 10th because of a wild pitch and an error. So Cal very well could have got swept that week. Miami goes in there, wins that first game, loses the next 2. I think my prediction last week was whoever wins the first game goes 2-1. It was complete opposite this week. Let's see. Eric's, going back on Eric's since I played him this week. Virginia got the sweep on the Shower School. Penn State, gross. Purdue, undefeated. Baylor 1-2. That's how I had them pegged. They did exactly. Well, they will be 1-2. Sorry. After they
So
play LSU
did
tonight.
Purdue lose this weekend?
By the way, UCLA just the game just
UCLA
ended, so
yep.
They just beat Texas. So now I'm what?
4-1.
I'm 6-2.
6-1.
I'm 6-2
So
on the
Purdue
Schwann's
is
Classic.
undefeated right now?
Yep.
Nice.
We already touched on Tennessee, Baylor, Clemson looking for the sweep tonight, so we'll see if they stay undefeated. UCF played Ole Miss pretty well. Washington State went 1-2. Kansas State, he has right here. I just want to apologize to all the K-State fans out there if I upset you in our last episode, or maybe you should be thanking me as I may have lit a fire under their ass.
Sounds about right.
They were going for the sweep and they lost the third game to Loyola Marymount.
That was a quick little fire, huh?
Yeah. Arizona went 1-2 this weekend.
Ooh.
Yeah, Arizona
Yeah.
State went
Wow.
1-2 to Texas State.
Yep.
Yikes. Yeah, so the only
Arizona
points I
looks
think
like a good baseball program too.
they
this
were
year.
looking like they came out of the gate strong. The couple teams I do want to open up a little bit here, I think we should talk about from Eric's points. We touched on Tennessee briefly, but I think we're all in agreement that they're certainly not pretenders.
Mm-mm.
No. They were victim to some really elite pitching, right? I mean, Hansen from Texas is one of the best in the country. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. And then the other 2 games, right? They put 8 runs on OU and how many on Baylor, right? Like,
They just took care of business against
10,
Baylor.
10-5?
yeah, something like that. So the offense isn't a joke. The pitching is still there. I mean, Chase, I want to say
Dellinger?
Davis. I can't remember his.
I mean, when your only loss is to Texas,
Dollinger?
I think that's the second starter, Hollander or Dollander. But the Friday night starter, he looks awesome.
Okay.
Like he Texas, they ended up getting to him, but he looked great. So Tennessee is definitely not a pretender. They're here to stay. They couldn't get the victory against Texas, but they had a absolutely solid showing this weekend. And then we talked about Tulane and Mississippi State. Let's talk a little bit about just the AAC, because when we were creating this fantasy league, we were starting with, I kind of put it out to the guys, we're just going to do Power 5 teams. And we felt like we needed to include the AAC because
I'm so
of the quality.
glad we did too.
The quality baseball teams there. And they have rewarded us with some really quality baseball. Like coming into the draft, ECU was pretty much tagged as like the runaway favorite with that conference. And now we're looking at teams like Tulane, which came in and beat Mississippi State in the series. Granted, it was at Tulane, but granted, it is Mississippi State.
UCF.
We're looking at teams like UCF and USF, both, playing really high quality baseball. I mean, UCF had a great chance to beat Ole Miss in the series this weekend. So, that conference is anything but up for grabs, and ECU seems to be bouncing back a little bit, but they're not a write-off conference at all. Like, those teams have the potential to make some solid noise coming into the tournament in June.
Well,
I don't know if anybody want to make any bold predictions on who's gonna. I'm gonna forget Cincinnati.
Houston's another team to watch out for too.
No,
they're not.
Why?
I own Houston, dude.
Okay,
they're not doing anything.
Why, Seuches?
Why?
They're a stinky team.
So, anybody wants to make any bold predictions on who's gonna come away with the AAC?
I still got ECU.
Automatic.
I think Mustache March is going to be big.
yeah,
We're just starting March.
I'm gonna stick with ECU. I think.
I'm gonna have to go Tulane. Just because of
Tulane's looking real
just
good.
because of the state bias. Tulane always puts up a good fight against LSU. I think Tulane's a good baseball program. And former LSU Tiger Blake Dean, who holds 3 or 4 major records at LSU through their baseball, as their coach. So I can't really hate on Tulane.
I think I might go with Tulane as well. I think for me it's between Tulane and UCF. I mean, when I checked the score of the Mississippi State game yesterday, I think is when they were down big and then they came back. Like it can't be overstated how difficult it is to mentally stay locked in a game like that and come all the way back and claw and scratch and be able to win a game like that.
Yeah,
so
they were down 10-2
their
that
black
game.
jerseys are sick.
Okay, so we've covered our. Sorry.
I said let's jump into the midweek games.
I think we are.
Yeah, we touched on
already.
this a little bit.
Oh.
Yeah, I mean, unless you have any other you want to highlight particularly.
Oh, I mean, no. I just.
Oh yeah.
Guess I wasn't tracking.
Actually, yeah. Let's tackle that Mississippi State Texas Tech.
Let's spend a couple minutes on that, and we can get into rankings.
Absolutely. I think Mississippi State's going to come out and lose both because I hate them. All right. Next segment.
Texas Tech was hot too.
I will say I will
Texas
be
Tech's
at the
very hot.
Rutgers versus Wagner game, so I'll be getting some live updates for that. So
I think Tech splits that series with Mississippi State.
Yeah, I'm actually going out to Phoenix next week, so I'm going to try to catch a Sun Devils game out there.
that'll be sweet.
Unfortunately, it wasn't a conference game, but yeah. So rankings. Eric was able to give us a little bit of his rundown. Let's start with his, and then we can all chime in.
He's mean. He's mean. Arizona out of top 15.
I think that's pretty consensus.
Yeah.
I mean, dropping 2. I think they dropped 2 or 3 to Texas State. So not a good look for them at all. He has. Let me get back to it. He's got Texas is the number 1. We've covered that. Texas Tech. He's vaulting into the top 10 after an elite offensive showing. Moving Kentucky up to 16. His project, Sac State, has now dropped out of the top 25. They dropped 2 or 3 to Houston Baptist. Oklahoma State out of the top 10 after 2 losses to Gonzaga with the possibility to get swept. NC State down to 21 after their showing this weekend. And then Tennessee to 5. That looks about right. What I've got.
He had Tennessee
to
at
highlight
1,
mine.
right? Last week he had Tennessee at 1.
Yeah, he had Tennessee at 1, and now after this, forced to flip flop and put Texas at 1, Tennessee at 3. I think he said 3. Tennessee 5. Tennessee at 5.
I think even though with this now current loss to UCLA, I still think that Texas is the number 1 team in college baseball right now.
Yeah, like Travis said, I mean,
I give a lot of
those
credit.
Sunday games are always, those aren't ever for sure wins, ever.
Yeah, no. I mean, as it's shown for the past 3 weeks, I think.
Plus, who they had to play this weekend, and then you have to play UCLA after that. I mean, it's just so difficult to come out with 3 wins in that tournament.
Yeah. All the credit in the world to UCLA. They did the job today. They definitely move a couple spots in my rankings. But, clearly Texas is number 1. I've got Oregon State in my 2. We'll rattle off, because we're going to publish all these in the aggregate list on the website tomorrow morning, right when everybody else posts theirs as well. Top 5 for me, I got Texas, Oregon State, Ole Miss, Georgia Tech, and Vandy.
Okay.
What do you guys got?
So I have Virginia at my 4. That's the only difference because they're still undefeated.
Virginia at 4. I mean, Eric had them at 5, I think, after the first weekend of the season. So, definitely some love for Virginia on the show. Another ACC team that isn't in the national headlines, but, like, the conference is looking very, very strong. TJ Brennan, about the same, or no?
Yeah, pretty much the same. Ole Miss is definitely going to drop a couple spots for me, just because we've had teams that looked a little bit better this weekend.
Yeah, I know I said last week I wanted Vandy to fall out of the top 10. Definitely going to vault them into the top 5. Also, I know it's not the top 5 that we're talking about, but Georgia Tech is my number 6 pick. I love what they're doing on the baseball field. I mean, obviously, only since Travis went there, that's when I started following them. But I think ever since, I just like what they do. They're a great baseball school, and
bring back the triple option.
Yeah,
please don't.
I think they're gonna win the ACC. I think we'll clip that if we want to, because Georgia Tech's gonna
we'll
win.
Clip it.
Georgia Tech's gonna win the ACC.
That would be a huge accomplishment too with these teams.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny because like SEC, you have these teams like Mississippi State seems to be falling off a little bit. Kentucky is rising, on the rise, but they've still got some of the premier teams in the country. We're talking about Ole Miss, talking about Tennessee, Arkansas. Everybody's still high on, despite not
Florida's
really
moving up the ladder too.
Showing up per se. Florida had a great weekend this week. LSU has been dominant. Yes, the Tigers have been great. We can't forget about them. But the ACC, right? They've got a lot of teams that, in terms of quantity and quality, they're matching the SEC, I think. Highlights, I think Tennessee's 8 for me. Liberty, I've got at 13. I'm really bumping them up because they have continued to win. They win. They keep winning. They keep winning. Texas Tech at 14 after their showing. I've got Tulane and Kentucky at 16, 17, and then UCF. So Maryland's dropped down. NC State's at 20. Oklahoma State at 22. And then Purdue at 21 for me because they're still unbeaten. So I'm going to talk about any highlights, and then we can hop off, and we'll get this episode up.
So I'm definitely going to move Kentucky up from, I think I had them at 23. They're probably going to be my top 15. Florida's going to bump up probably somewhere around 10 just because of what they did. They'll probably swap spots with Miami at 12. Other than that, I mean, to round out, UCLA is going to go up a couple spots. Texas Tech.
Where do you
obviously.
guys have Tech at right now? I have them in my top 10.
Yeah,
14.
Had them at 20 last week. They'll be top 15 this week. 100%.
Yeah, I think top 15 is good to say.
I don't know about top 10, but definitely top 15.
Yeah, I think the only...
Travis, where'd you put NC State?
Where did I put NC State?
Or did they make the top 25?
My monitor's not long enough for that.
He's going to put him at 27.
For that low.
I see.
No, they're. I think after this weekend, they definitely don't deserve to be top 15. I would put them more near bottom 5, so 23, 24. Like I said, I'd love to see way more out of them because it was embarrassing to watch, to be completely honest.
Is Arkansas still a top 15 team, or are they out of everybody's top 15 right now?
I've got them at 10. I think that is a little bit generous in comparison to what they've done and how they've shown up against the teams that they've played. I am very hopeful, though, that their last victory, 11-1, they finally put up more than like 5 or 6 runs. So if they can continue that, they'll be back in the top, 10. I mean, they're in my 10. They can continue to climb. So I've got them at 10, but I can definitely hear arguments for, lower for sure.
And then Tulane.
Any higher is a little generous.
Tulane should be in everybody's top 25, right?
For sure.
I don't see how you can leave them out.
I think I was the only one with Tulane in my top 25 last week.
Shout out Brennan.
Yeah, they're definitely
Yep,
going to be.
he gets the credit for that one for sure.
They're going to be up there around 15, I think.
Where do you guys have Oregon State? Because we haven't talked about them too much. Like, they've been a team that has been quietly dominant.
Yeah, I have them at 3 right now. They did lose today, didn't they?
They lost to UCI 2-3.
I'm not going to punish them too much for
UC
just that
Irvine.
one L. I do want to see them against better competition, though.
UC Irvine's pretty good competition. I mean, they're a great baseball program.
Irvine's usually
They did
pretty
get
good.
the series win, and the one loss was 3-2. So I'm pretty high on them for sure.
Yeah, I think they're the best team in the Pac-12 right now.
Oh,
They're
yeah,
playing
by
like
far.
the best team in the
Yeah,
Pac-12.
What would you say?
100%.
Would it be Oregon State, Arizona, then Stanford?
Mm-hmm.
No,
I think
no,
Stanford's
get
Stanford's above
Arizona
Arizona for sure.
for sure.
And then would you
Especially
put
this weekend.
UCLA ahead of Arizona, or would you have UCLA still behind Arizona?
I would still have them behind.
With
I think
today's
there's
win.
I want to see a little bit
I don't
more.
know though, but like, I know I traded Siege's UCLA. Have they had any like?
They lost
really
to Baylor
bad-
2-1. That's my only thing. If they would have beat Baylor, I feel like I would have just ranked them easily in the top 15.
Maybe
So with that
UCLA
loss
and
to
Arizona
Baylor,
are like the
just-
next, like those are the next teams, and then the rest are kind of like the rest of the pack.
For sure.
Okay.
What about UCF? Does anybody have them in their top 25? Or want
18.
them in their top 25? I mean, they played
18.
Ole Miss very good.
I don't want them in my top 15 just because of what they did to Joe Burrow back in 2018. So they'll hang around 26 until they do something
Was
cool.
that in the Sugar Bowl?
No,
I
it
think that was in the Sugar
No,
Bowl.
I think it was the Peach Bowl 2018.
Oh, Peach Bowl. Okay. Got some smoke with UCF.
Been having smoke.
All right. Any final thoughts, guys? Wrap up here. Really happy with my Yellow Jackets. Anybody else?
I think I'm
Do
going
we
to
have
leave
any?
with one
Go
bold
ahead.
statement. I think University of Texas baseball wins 10 of their next 11. That is my only bold statement.
Wow.
That's
So
10
you're
out of
saying
next
they're
11.
gonna get to like 21-1?
No, 21 and 2. And 2, because they lost today.
Listen, we got 2 games Texas State. I think that'll be dubs. And then we go into South Carolina. I think they'll drop 1 to them. Then we got the Citadel, Incarnate Word, and Central Arkansas.
Oh, man.
I think we win 10 of 11.
Yeah, so that's not even like a bold statement there. That's just a consensus
Yeah, they can
statement.
close their eyes and win all those.
It is a bold statement because we've seen that
It is tough
teams
to
can
keep
lose.
winning against
Teams
any
can
team.
lose
Yes.
to anybody on any given day, and winning
Yeah.
10 of 11 in a road stand
Yep.
is rough.
I'm very anxious to see if next week any of these ACC teams fall, because there are 3 undefeated teams right now, and I would like to see a couple of them drop a game this week. Looks like Clemson and Wake Forest.
Yeah, that's gonna be a rough one. I don't think I'm gonna take Wake Forest sweeping them, but we'll see what
Okay.
happens.
All right. I did manage to find the best record for most consecutive wins to begin a season, And wouldn't you know it, the record belongs to the Texas Longhorns. In 1977, they won 34 straight games to open their season. So we will.
Was Augie Garrido the coach back then too?
I don't know about the 70s, but very possible.
What was their final ranking or their record? Does it say?
1977 wasn't a baseball year, obviously.
If they win all those games and don't win the College World Series,
yeah, Florida Atlantic University actually tied that mark. They didn't say the year. Let's see, 1977 College World Series.
I just don't see how they go in to lose these next few games. Like I said,
ooh,
I have them dropping 1 to South Carolina, and that is it.
I feel like the top 10 should be Texas, 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 and then the rest. I just feel like they're one step ahead of every single baseball team right now. Even though they lost to UCLA, I just feel like they're still a dominant team.
I don't even see Texas listed here as a tournament participant.
And they
for
play
this
in the
year?
Big 12 too. So you're only struggles
No,
against
1977.
Texas Tech and
77.
maybe TCU.
Would they win those 34 straight games and then just stop playing, stop showing up?
Well, Texas A&M won the Southwest Conference.
Huh? Excuse me? Texas didn't even win their conference that year?
Wait, hold on. Conference standings. Southwest. Texas. Oh my gosh. Texas finished the season 53-9, but they lost the conference to Texas A&M, who went 18-4 in conference, and Texas went 17-7. So Texas A&M's overall record was 37-16, and Texas's was 53-9, and Texas didn't even get into the College World Series tournament that year because Baylor won the conference tournament.
What?
I don't think I like that, but
That's wild.
So
Arizona State ended up winning
53-9.
Yeah, that's
a
crazy.
very interesting statistic.
Didn't even win their own conference.
The most consecutive games won in a row, 77, by the good old-fashioned Louisiana State University Tigers.
Oh my God, this guy.
They won 77 games from June 8th, 1996 to February 21st, 1998.
In baseball?
That's what this says right here on NCAA's website.
Quote your sources. Quote your sources.
NCAA.org.
We'll have to do some post work on that one.
So this week, what we're looking forward to is obviously Texas Tech and Mississippi State, right? During the week. That's one of the biggest matchups.
Yeah.
That's going to be the premier week matchup. And then
this weekend, are there any big tournaments? I don't really see any huge tournaments like there were this weekend.
So we're going to be coming into some hot, possibly conference matchups, but we're going to be covering those on Thursday. That will come out on Friday morning. We'll be previewing the weekend coming up and the little bit of in week matchups. That will definitely be Mississippi State and Texas Tech will definitely be the highlight of that.
I like it.
All right, guys. Thanks for hopping in. Next week, Eric and Benji will be back with us. Hope to hear from you soon. Best of luck, and we'll reconvene on Thursday, come out Friday morning with a highlight of what happened this week and a preview for the weekend.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, guys.